After catching this girl following me all around the school and even in some public places, I remember I looked at her and said, yo, what is it gonna take for you to stop following me? Here, give me your phone. And when she took my phone, she made it so that she always, and I mean always, gets notified where I go and has my location on 24/7. This girl was obsessed, bro. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story all takes place back when I was in high school, and this was my grade 11 year. Now, in grade 11, you guys gotta know I was a major player, okay? Like, yes, I do a lot of the Devil's Tango. But one thing was for sure was that this one girl I ended up meeting was really obsessed with me to the point where it was kind of weird. But the way I met her, honestly, was also pretty weird. Because I remember one day when I was walking down the school hallway, one of my friends ended up walking up to me. He walked up to me and said, yo, Bubba, listen, bro. I have a massive favor I need to ask you. Yeah, what is it? What's up, bro? Well, you see, I'm going on a date with this girl, but like her friend is going, and like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really need a third wheel, so can you come in and like kind of like, you know, make it like a double date? Now, I'm gonna say this, I really don't like double dates. I feel like it makes things really awkward unless, you know, everyone's already friends. But one thing was for sure was that this guy was a good friend of mine, so I ended up saying, yeah, sure, okay, I'm down. When's the date? He ended up writing all the details on a text message and he sent it to me. And at that moment, when I realized we were going to the theater, I already knew what I was going in for. I remember the next day comes around and that's when the date was. And I remember after school that day, he ended up walking up to me before I got into my car and said, yo, Bubba, remember that date tonight, right? Because I need you there. Yeah, I'll be there. I told you I would. Okay, sweet. I'll see you. And I ended up getting inside my car. And as I was on the way there, he actually ended up sending me a photo of what this girl looks like. Now, I'm not gonna lie. As I was driving, I'm never usually on my phone. But this one time when I needed to see what this girl looked like, I'm not gonna lie. She was really, really attractive. Like, she was definitely like a 10 out of 10. But one thing I know about 10 out of 10s is that there's always something off with them. There's no girl that is a perfect 10 out of 10. But so far from what I was seeing, this girl was. And me thinking everything was gonna be okay, well, boy, was I wrong. Because once I got to the theater that night, trust me, things got really, really weird. Because I remember later that night when I pulled up to the movie theater, I ended up getting out of my car and instantly I saw my friend and these two girls standing there just waiting for me. And as I was walking up to them, this girl ends up walking up to me saying, hi, like, nice to meet you. You must be my date tonight. Yeah, hi, I'm Bubba. Nice to meet you. We ended up shaking hands because obviously, like, I didn't really know her. But as I was shaking my hand with her, she ended up pulling me in and giving me a big hug. Which, I mean, some girls like being like that, you know, I'm not going to argue with it. But I will say this, it made me pretty uncomfortable. But one thing led to another. We ended up going inside the movie theater and we went to go watch a horror movie. Now, I'm going to say this as well. I don't like horror movies. If you guys enjoy horror movies, comment down below. But me personally, I don't enjoy watching horror movies at all. Like, it is just not for me. It is not my thing. But since my friend and their date ended up basically choosing a horror movie to watch, since they were both into horror movies, me and this girl, we ended up, you know, basically joining along since it was a double date. But as we got inside the movie theater, I remember we sat down and when the movie started, instantly at that moment, this girl that was my date ended up talking to me over and over and over again. Like, no joke, all she would do is just talk to me the whole entire movie, which if anyone knows movie theater etiquette, you know it is not a good idea to interrupt the movie while you're watching it. I remember this girl kept talking to me over and over to the point where my friend ended up texting me saying, yo, bro, I'm trying to watch the movie and you guys talking is actually annoying. If you guys are going to be yapping, can you at least do it outside the movie? So I remember at that point, I showed the message to the girl and me and her, we ended up giggling and we actually ended up leaving the movie theater. We ended up walking outside and we just sat down by my car and we just started talking and stuff because, well, that's all she was doing really, since she was a professional yapper apparently. And then that's when things got pretty weird because I remember she started like kind of trauma dumping me and told me about her last boyfriend, how like she never really trusted him and stuff since he would do weird things. And that's when I kind of understood and started relating to her to the point where I ended up asking her out again. And boy, was this a majorly bad decision because what ends up happening next was really, really bad. Because the next time I go and see this girl, I started really to see her true colors. Because I remember there was a time where during school, I ended up seeing her at my school hallway just hanging out. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know she went to my school until like the day I met her. But I ended up walking up to her saying, hey, like what class you got next? Oh, I just have science. Oh, okay, cool. I'm about to head to theater class. Yeah, I know. Oh, okay. At that moment, I started to realize that this girl already knew my school schedule and a lot about me that I didn't really know she knew. Like, for example, she knew the last 3 girls I dated somehow. And on top of that, she knew where I lived. How did she know where I lived? Well, I don't really know. But I remember after that little like short conversation with her, I ended up walking up to my friend that was on the double date with me that night. And I told him like, yo, like, bro, did you say any information to her about me? Like, what did you tell this girl? And he just straight up says, oh, bro, I didn't tell her anything. To be honest, I didn't meet her until I got to the theater that day as well. So obviously something was a little off here, but I didn't really think too much of it. Maybe she just did some basic research on the internet to figure out who I was and who I am as a person. But don't get me wrong. What ends up happening next made things things even a lot more weirder. Because I remember later on that week, me and her would go on a couple dates here and there, but I started to notice that every time me and her were in school, she would follow me around the school as if she was like majorly obsessed with me. It was really, really weird, and she kept following me around, and it got to the point where one of the boys even pointed it out and said, yo, Bubba, your girlfriend keeps following us around, bro. Like, she's actually being really weird, dude. Let's just tell her like to buzz off. So that's what I did. I ended up walking up to her, and I said to her, hey, babe, listen, like, you need to like seriously just like back off a little, okay? Like, I understand you want to hang out with me and stuff, but this is not the way to do it. Well, like, how am I supposed to know where you are and stuff? Like, I want to hang out with you again soon. I mean, like, you could just text me like any normal person would. And at that moment, I remember she ended up grabbing my phone, and she ended up making it so that she could see my location no matter where I was. Obviously, I was super uncomfortable with this, and I remember I looked at her and told her, wait, you turned on my location for you? Yeah, so I can always know where you are. And at that moment, I felt really uncomfortable. It was pretty obvious at this moment that this girl was obsessed. But not only that, I remember things got a lot worse and made things really, really weird. Because not even later on that same day, I was walking towards my car to basically head home, and right away, I ended up seeing a girl leaning on my car, and it wasn't the girl that was obsessed with me, it was another girl. And I walked up to her saying, hey, like, why are you on my car? You're Bubba, right? Yeah, what's going on? Well, like, you know that girl you're seeing? I'm not seeing anyone. What do you mean? And then she ended up saying the girl's name, and that's when I realized, oh, wait, what about her? Well, like, Bubba, you do understand, she nonstop talks about you, and it's getting super annoying. Like, me and the group are just like, so like, seriously, either date her or just get her off our backs already. At this moment, I didn't really know what to say, so I got in my car and started laughing, because like, what else am I supposed to do in that situation? And at that moment, I ended up heading home and driving back. But as I was driving home, I ended up getting spam text messages from not only the girl that was obsessed with me, but her friends, and not only that, also my friends that were my IRLs at the time. I remember I got super annoyed, and I ended up basically like turning my phone on do not disturb. And when I was inside my house, I decided to basically take a nap. I remember like half an hour goes by as I'm like laying in bed sleeping, and then boom, that's when it happened. My mom ends up storming into my room saying, Bubba, there's a girl out the front door waiting for you. She says she needs you, and she says you're her boyfriend. Wait, what? And at that moment, I went upstairs, and I saw it was literally the girl that was obsessed with me. I ended up walking up to her saying, what are you doing here? Why are you at my house? Well, I don't know. You weren't answering your phone, so I decided to come in and check on you. So you looked where I was located and decided to show up just because I didn't text you back? At this moment, she got really annoyed with my tone of voice, and she told me, okay, well, not in front of your mom. Let's go downstairs and talk. So me and her, we started talking in my bedroom, and as we were speaking to each other, out of nowhere, I'm not even gonna lie to you, this girl just got really close to me, and she started confessing her love to me as if like it was Romeo and Juliet. And I am not even joking. We actually ended up doing the Devil's Tango. And boy, was that the worst decision ever. Because I remember afterwards, when we were done doing the Devil's Tango, we ended up laying down beside each other, and she told me, Bubba, you know I dream about you like all the time, right? Like, you live in my head rent free. Wait, what? And then I realized that when she went on her phone, she had a photo of me as her wallpaper. At this moment, I knew 100% this girl was just majorly obsessed, and I had to shut it down. So I remember I ended up basically like telling her like how we can't see each other anymore, and how like my parents don't allow me dating. You know, the basic typical answer that, you know, you want to give when you're trying to get out of a basic relationship. And this girl started screaming. She started yelling in my room to the point where, I'm not gonna lie, my parents got involved and had to escort her out of the house. I always found it weird how she was really obsessed with me, but at the same time, as I started to grow older, I started to realize that girls getting obsessed is actually very common. It's just every girl shows it a different way. And also, even though she was a 10 out of 10, she was obsessed. So I guess that makes her like, what, a 3 out of 10? Tell me what you guys think, but honestly, would you guys date an obsessed girl? Because if not, then fall for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys.